Okay, hi guys, we're back again. This is the second video of part two of the structure of anatomy and physiology. And we were just in the middle of beginning our graphic organizer, and we said that to start with, our whole central concept is that's going to help us understand everything is that as a biologic organism, I'm constantly interacting with my environment. Okay, now if I'm constantly interacting with my environment, there should be some goals of this interaction. What are the goals of me interacting with my environment? And we've said that my three main goals are to extract energy and biomaterials, maintain a stable internal environment, and persist in the environment as an individual and as a species. Okay, if I can do that, my interaction with the environment will be completely successful. Okay, now let's go to the next slide and find out what we do next. Once we know what these goals are, the next question might be, well, do I have some functions that are part of me that can accomplish these goals? What is it that can accomplish acquiring energy and biomaterial? What is it about me that can accomplish maintaining a stable internal environment, etc.? Let's look at each goal and see if the body has a set of functions that will accomplish these goals. So my first goal is to extract energy and biomaterials from the environment. Most importantly, in our interactions, we have to be able to extract energy from the environment. That's what our organism needs to do. I've got to get the stuff I need to live from the environment. This is where most of our efforts are directed. Now, biomaterials are any material an organism must extract from its environment in order to survive, including, okay? And so I'm going to start typing information in here, including carbohydrates. I need carbohydrates, especially glucose, right? I need lipids. I need to get proteins from the environment. Okay, I need to get water. I need to get oxygen. I need to get vitamins, and I also need to get minerals. Okay, these are all the things that I need to get from the environment, and it doesn't really matter what order you put these in. Oops. Vitamins, okay? It doesn't matter what order we put these in, but this is also a vocab word. Biomaterials are any material that we need to extract from the environment. Okay, you'll notice that three of these are our main macromolecules. Okay, and then water and oxygen are things that make sense, and vitamins and minerals are things that make sense as well. So these are the things that go in your list. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So here's a question. Recognize that the first three of these are three of the four major classes of biologic molecules. What is the fourth? Okay, what is the fourth major class of biologic macromolecules? If you don't know, just put I don't know. That's okay. But if you do know, go ahead and submit that. I have to submit an answer just so I can move on. I'm just going to say Marshall is here. And then I'm going to move on, but tell me what you think that is. Okay. Now, there are, and by the way, if you go to your class notes in Canvas and you hover over these blue lines, the answers will also appear. Okay, so if you miss something, you can go to the class notes in Canvas and find out what the answer was. But you should also be able to get these blanks from the class notes. So anyway, two main functions that all organisms perform in order to extract energy and biomaterials. One of these is obvious, and that's going to be digestion. Okay, the other one's not going to be so obvious. That's going to be metabolism. Okay, and I consider these to be basically just two aspects of the same thing. Digestion gets food and biomaterials into your body and breaks it down to the point where it can be absorbed. Once it's absorbed, then metabolism, the chemical reactions of the body take over, and that's called metabolism. So I break it down into small enough pieces to be absorbed, and then I metabolize it. I take it the rest of the way with metabolism. So these are the two functions that are going to be required. Digestion is the process of ingesting and breaking down food into simple molecules that can be absorbed into the blood for delivery. Okay, this is a vocab word. Click on that. That'll take you to the vocab page, and you can write your vocab or record your vocab in there. And this is the body function that gets most of the energy and biomaterials from the environment into the body. There are actually a couple of other ways that we can get some things into the body. Can you think of what these ways might be? And think about it for a second, and then I'm going to tell you that the other two ways that I'm aware of are inhalation through the respiratory system. I can get some things into my body, and mainly oxygen, right? Inhalation through the respiratory system. That's going to be one thing. And then I could also absorb substances through the skin. Okay, one biomaterial that we get from the skin is vitamin D, right? Okay, now metabolism is the entire set of chemical reactions that occur in the body. This is also a vocab word, and here's one of our learning targets. We have to know the difference between anabolism and catabolism. And metabolism encompasses both of these things. It includes chemical reactions that break down larger molecules to obtain energy and building blocks, which is specifically called catabolism. Catabolism is the breaking down to get building block materials. And then chemical reactions that build new molecules is called anabolism. And you'll get these mixed up all the time, and there's an easy way to remember which one is going to be which. I know that anabolic steroids build muscle. So it's the same word. Anabolism means to build. Anabolic steroids mean to build muscle. So if I remember anabolic steroids build muscle, I can remember that anabolism builds new molecules from building blocks, and so catabolism must be the opposite one. Okay, so that's how I remember that. So the next thing is the ability to maintain a stable internal environment. We've met our first goal with digestion and metabolism. Now we need to maintain the ability to maintain a stable internal environment. And I've told you this, but let's fill in this blank here. 31 is going to be homeostasis. Homeostasis. Okay, the word stasis means not changing, and homeo means not changing my state. Okay, I'm not changing the internal environment. If I'm maintaining homeostasis, I'm maintaining the same state. Okay, so you're aware of the fact that we need to have a stable body temperature of 98.7. You're probably also aware that the inside of our body has a significantly different composition than the surrounding environment, and levels of many chemicals inside of our body also need to remain constant. Is there a set of functions the body performs that helps maintain stability? And obviously there is, or I wouldn't have asked, and we wouldn't be putting it in the graphic organizer. So just like there's a set of functions that help acquire energy and biomaterial, and that was digestion and metabolism, there's a set of functions that help maintain a stable internal environment. And I first want to tell you that this involves the use of some special systems. And these special systems are called homeostatic control mechanisms. Homeostatic control mechanisms. So some examples of homeostatic control mechanisms that you're aware of that function in our house or around the environment. What are some that you're aware of? I can think of of several. The main one is a thermostat. Okay, a thermostat keeps our temperature in the house stable. But we also have sensors that detect things like oxygen. So oxygen sensors can maintain certain levels of oxygen, like in a car engine. And then a humidity sensor maintains the humidity of the room at the same level. Okay, so not only do they have sensors, but they also have mechanisms that if the oxygen levels or the humidity levels change, they'll try to cause something to happen to make those levels get back to normal. Okay, so these are examples of things like this that we've built in the world around us that aren't part of our body. Okay, so these homeostatic control mechanisms, first thing they do, in order to be able to respond to something, I have to be able to detect it, right? So the homeostatic control mechanism detects changes or imbalance either in the internal or external environment using receptors. Okay, I receive that information with a receptor. I find out about the fact that I have a high temperature by a temperature sensor. I find out that I have a low oxygen in my blood by an oxygen sensor. I find out that I have a high sodium in my blood with a sodium sensor or receptor. Okay, so they send information about the changes to, and we're going to say a control center. Okay, I gather all this information with my receptors and I send it to my control center. Okay, then I don't just deal with it individually. I combine all this information by saying, if I have this piece of information and this piece of information and this other piece of information, what do? I don't just deal with each piece of information individually. I integrate this information. Okay, so this information is then integrated in this control center. Okay, and then it decides what to do and sends signals to structures that can carry out or effect. Okay, we're using this word as a verb. I effect a change. I cause a change to happen. Okay, the decision in order to restore balance, the structures that do the effecting are called effectors. Okay, so this is the essence of a homeostatic control mechanism. I detect changes with receptors. I send that information to a control center. The control center integrates it. It then makes a decision about what to do, and it causes that decision to happen using effectors. It effects the change using effectors. Okay? The effect or action that occurs to restore balance is called feedback. Okay? If the feedback acts to increase the change, it's called positive feedback. And this is extremely uncommon because we don't usually want to cause a change or an imbalance to get worse, do we? Excuse me. We want it to go back to the normal. But there is one common example, or one example that's commonly given, and that's childbirth. Once I start childbirth, I want the process to continue. I want the process to continue to strengthen, right? I don't want it to stop. I want it to keep going so that we can actually deliver the baby. So childbirth is an example of positive feedback. If I have, I'm going to need to stop this video. Stop this and go on to the next one.